You are listening to More Than a Sniff, a weekly podcast of Western States Canine College. I'm Joe, owner and principal trainer here with my colleagues Chris, Michelle, and Shannon. Today, we are going to talk about how dogs fit in balance of whatever that is and how we can balance out our life and our dogs and not become stressed out that we don't have time for the dogs or feeling guilty because our dogs didn't get out for a walk today, or so because our dogs feel that. They feel that stress, they feel when things change, and we have to find balance within that. And it's not always easy. So Shannon and Michelle are here today with me, and we're going to talk about some of our own personal experiences with our dogs and how we balance out working other people's dogs, doing lessons all day long, and then coming home and finding balance for our own dogs and our family, and where the dog fits in on that. So Shannon, tell us a little bit about your dog and kind of what your routines are and how you find balance with him and your family.
My dog, Louie, is a French Bulldog. He's about 3 years old. And I would say we have a super loose routine so that it doesn't stress him out when certain things don't happen because my schedule's different every day. Yeah. So I don't have like a specific routine like get up, do these things in a certain order, come home every day at this certain time for dinner, blah, blah, blah. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So like we usually get up, go out to go to the bathroom and have breakfast, and after that everything's different every day. Yeah. So I find that by not having the same routine for him helps him be less stressed because he's just like, oh, whatever happens today is what happens. You know, we don't always go on a walk. We don't always have like a set training time. We don't always watch TV at the same time, and that's how I handle having a different schedule every day. Yeah. And how do you feel like it affects him with your relationship overall? Do you feel like there's things that stress him out? Things that stress him out are things that are outside of the house. Okay. I would say for him, since I've had him since he was born, the exact minute he was born, I'm like his home. Yeah. So if I'm there, even if we're somewhere else, he's fine. Yeah. But if other people come over, that stresses him out. Okay. If he goes somewhere else with another person that's not in our family, that stresses him out. So mostly things that are at home and variability of schedule doesn't seem to faze him as long as me or my husband or my sister are there because we are his core pack. Right. Okay. And so where do you find time for him as we're out working with people and their dogs? You know, there's a pretty common statement that I don't have time, or how do you find time, or where do you fit that in, and what do you feel like that is for him? Anytime I'm home, I'm with him. And we can be doing different things, but we're together. Yep. And so, for example, with my husband, he loves to play video games. And so when he's having video game time, Louie is having a time where we buy like these chew things for him to chew on, so he doesn't chew the furniture, and that's like the dog video game. Yeah. So when my husband's playing video games, Louie is with him chewing on his and doing his chewy thing. Yeah. Okay. And then that's their like video game time. So if I'm like reading a book or if I'm working on my lap times, then he might come and lie on my lap and nap with me, and then that's his nap time with me while I'm working. Yep. So we find ways to be together when we're home. Yeah. And that's how we do. Okay. And then what about training overall? So he's 3. Yeah. So I don't train him as much now that he's older. Yep. When he was a baby, everything we did was focused around training. Yep. And our whole family had to be watching him and doing training 24/7 for the whole first year of his life. Yep. And so we adapted our schedule to train him to do things. Sure. Now we only do training things like if we have a problem that comes up, and then we'll refocus a little bit. Like we have to do this specific training thing every time someone rings the doorbell. I don't know. Maybe he has a problem with someone ringing the doorbell. Yeah. And so then every time someone rings the doorbell, we'll have to do that. But he has more like maintenance kind of training things now. Nice.
And you don't feel like he is out of balance if he doesn't get a walk or if he doesn't get...
No, because I never... if you have a dog when they're a baby and you walk them every day at 3 o'clock, they know that you don't walk them. But if on Monday you go on a walk at 10 in the morning, and then Tuesday you don't go on a walk, and then Wednesday you go on a walk at 3, that's how I raised him, because I knew I couldn't come home every day at 3 and give him a walk. Or I couldn't go every day at 10 p.m. and give him a walk. So if we miss a walk, he doesn't notice, because he doesn't know what day it is. This is the we don't walk day, and tomorrow we'll go at 11:30. Right, you know?
Good. So keeping and it sounds like, I mean, that's pretty normal overall in people's life, and so not stressing about it, just making it a part of whatever you're doing is, instead of trying to figure out a schedule for him, he just fits into whatever happens, and who knows if it's Saturday or if it's Thursday to him, because it's always different. Cool. So Michelle, with your 3 and working all day long, and there's a balance for you as far as going and working out and having a social life and not making the dogs the center of attention, but still you have great dogs. So where do you find your balance with your dogs where nobody's stressed and worried about the dogs?
When I first got my dogs, I used to be really crazy that they had to go for a walk every single day. Like, even if it was midnight, we would take them out for a walk, and there was just a point that I was like, I can't do this anymore, and so I calmed down, which I think my energy released to them, and now they have calmed down, and they are totally fine going for a walk or not going for a walk, or Saturdays we'll watch TV all day, and Sunday we'll take them hiking, or like it's just a different balance on my part. I had to balance out my life for me and not for them. And that's something that I try to tell all of my clients, is that especially when dogs are puppies, I think routines are crucial. But it has to be your routine, not their routine.
Right.
So if you go to work at 8, then your dog is probably going to learn to wake up at 8, even on the weekends. But but take him out and let him go to the bathroom, and then go back to bed. Like, that's totally fine. The only big routine that I do still now is feeding, and that's just, honestly, it's because Prudence gets sick. My Cavalier gets sick if she doesn't eat every few hours. So she has acid reflux. She's fine. That's all. So that's really like the only routine at this point that we keep within like an hour of every day of when it needs to happen. That being said, like on the weekends, sometimes we'll sleep in, and I actually just keep cookies on the side of the bed. So when she starts doing her weird gaggy thing, we give her a cookie and she's fine for another hour. So, so there definitely is routines, and I think we actually have more routines than I think we do. Like, I feel like my day is different every day. But I don't think their day is different every day.
Right.
Like, I think at this point we get up, they eat, they go outside. If I leave for work or not, I assume they lay on the couch all day, and that's what we do on the weekends too. So, I think their day doesn't change nearly as much as mine does. So I just think you just have to balance out for you, not for them.
Right. So as we talk about that, and of course you get a dog and you fit it into your whatever your life is and whatever's happening, but how do we balance out our dogs not getting fat and exercise? We seem to get semi-obsessed about we have to give them exercise because we don't want our dogs to get fat. And so how do you guys balance that out? How do you feel like, we exercise, all 3 of us have some type of exercise going on, whether we're walking the dogs, 3 to 5 times a week, or whether we go to the gym, so we're exercising, but we don't feel like, we got to get our dogs out to exercise so that they can stay fit too. So how do you guys balance, like mentally, how do you balance that out in your head? Because none of us have obese dogs.
I think a lot of that is, and I've always been extremely crazy about my dogs getting fat, especially my Cavalier, because they do have such like health issues with their hearts and stuff. For me, that's always been a nutrition thing, though. Like I said, I used to be really crazy about the walk thing, but now, like, if they don't go for a walk, they just get a little less kibble every day.
Yeah.
Or less treats that day. Or if we do go for a walk, they get more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's how I balance that part of it out. My bigger dog, he's definitely has more energy, but he's also totally fine chasing a tennis ball even in the house at night. Yeah. Like that's totally just a release for him. So if especially this time of year, being how cold it is, if I get home at 6, there's no way I'm going out for another walk.
Yep.
So we just play ball even in the house. Like he's totally fine with that mentally and physically. So
yeah. Okay. And Shannon, what about with Louis?
I have a measuring cup, and I measure his food every day, and I feed him the same amount. And he's a little bit of a self-monitor. Like, if I put, his scoop of food that's measured out in his bowl in the morning, and he isn't hungry because he's been laying around all day yesterday, he won't eat it.
Yeah.
And he might not eat it all the way until the next day. And so he is good at self-monitoring if he's laying around a lot. Yeah. But I do measure his food, and then if some people are over at the house that give more treats than normal, I just feed him less. Yeah. And he's a bulldog, so he's not, I wouldn't say he's a super exercisey kind of a dog. Yep. He's more couch potato-y. Yep. But we play a lot of games. I do take him on walks, but he likes games. Yeah. And so we play a lot of games. Okay. And, for me, in the wintertime, I like to call it hibernating the dogs. We don't take them out as much. And they kind of hunker in, so I decrease kibble. But I think the one thing that everybody forgets is the treat thing, right? A bully stick, a bone, a biscuit is calories, and so therefore you should decrease your kibble in calories for the amount of what they're getting. So a lot of times mine get more things to chew on at night than in the summertime, and so I drastically decrease their kibble. Even if two of them think that they're always hungry. They should always be, any food time is food time, and anytime you pick up the bowl, it must be food time, because they think that that's routine, but it's not that they're hungry, it's that they enjoy that piece of survival. And so, two of mine, I really believe would be the ones that would go out and be the hunters. They would be the ones to keep everybody alive. Like, we have to go find food. And so you have to have that in a pack. And I think sometimes we get caught up as, well, my dog is still hungry, even though my 80-pound shepherds eat 2 to 3 cups of food a day. And so I think it's finding that balance. We don't exercise the dogs every day, especially in the winter. And then summertime, like, if we go out hiking, they're fine to just chill out for the rest of the week, because that's more of a natural, normal system to a dog. Is we go out hunting, we go out working hard for 1 to 2 days, and then we play and relax, and that's how they stay balanced, and that's how my pack stays balanced. They get a little bit edgier in the winter because we're not out hunting per se. With each other, so we always have to kind of find that balance for them, or give them some of their own time in the winter, because they are not out as much as they are in the summertime. For us, if we're out of balance and out of whack, then our dogs are. And it's little things that you don't really think about, even if you move the furniture around, can be out of whack to the dog, and they lose balance, because we do a little bit when we have change, and we forget that behaviorally, if we get out of whack, so will they. And so, Shannon, do you have an example of a time that maybe things got out of whack for Louis, that you kind of had to reset yourself and say, no, really, everything's okay? He notices when we're like packing like our bags to go on vacation, or if we're like packing to go on a hike. He loves to go on hikes, so I have to be careful when I get the hiking backpacks out. Like if I'm just repacking them for the summer to make sure all the stuff is in them, or if I'm moving them, he's like, the backpack's out, we're going for a hike. You know? And then when we don't go, then he's like, but aren't we going? What's going on? I don't know what's happening. Our backpack is out, but we didn't leave yet.
Yeah.
So then I have to be careful that